What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to review Green Day's American Idiot. Now, I want to start ramping up the Green Day reviews. We've reviewed every single album from them up until this point, leading into American Idiot. But I wanted to do this leading up to hopefully an announcement of a brand new album. In terms of when I'm recording this, there is no news. I think we're getting closer to eventually getting a single, and in general, just an announcement of an album. But I want to talk about American Idiot in this different kind of review format than what I normally do. Just my voice, not my face. American Idiot, to me, and we're going to be talking about the themes, we're going to be talking about just overall what I think about this album, and then I'll be going through every single song on this album. But really, I feel like you're going to hear the words like amazing, awesome, I love it, things like that. You're going to hear that a lot because, in my opinion, listening to this album again for the review, this is an album I can consistently come back to. This is an album that I can consistently listen to over and over and over because this is truly a masterpiece of an album. And obviously what it meant to Green Day and what it did for them back in 2004, bringing them really back, okay? Because after Warning, Shenanigans doesn't really count, right? But we had an era of Green Day going kind of downhill, and where people thought that they were just going to be this 90 band, a band that had a lot of amazing success with Dookie, with Insomniac, even you could argue, and with Nimrod. They had, but they kind of had that same kind of sound, right? They really didn't evolve all that much. And I would say the same thing, being a Green Day fan. I think Warning was a step in the right direction of evolving, but I don't think enough people listened to it. Especially back then, it was kind of rejected by a lot of people, so I don't think that counted to them. And it was looked at as Green Day's kind of finished. And if you guys know the story of American Idiot, it was that their original concept was their album that they had already recorded, Cigarettes and Valentines. A person broke into the recording studio, stole the tapes. So the tapes were all gone, and they could not get them back. They were wiped from the computers and whatnot. So Green Day had to make a decision to either re-record it or and re-record the entire thing of what they just did, or start from scratch. And they started from scratch, and they made American Idiot. Now, Cigarettes and Valentines eventually did become a song, a very solid song, by the way, but they eventually made American Idiot. So it's really amazing the kind of path that this song went through, or this entire album went through, from the fact that really they had something completely different, and that was destroyed pretty much and taken from them, and they had to restart. And what that then became was putting Green Day back on the map, in my opinion, better than ever. I know a lot of people, especially those that grew up in the 90s, which I'm not. I was born in 96. I didn't really start listening to Green Day until 2006, I'd say. I started listening to them when I was 9 or 10. So I wasn't even listening to them when American Idiot came out. But I know a lot of people that grew up with them in the 90s will say, Dookie, very important album. It's on so many lists, Rolling Stone. It's on so many lists as one of the greatest albums of all time, one of the best punk rock albums of all time. And what it meant for people growing up there, obviously major, major success, sold insanely well. But American Idiot, to me, is overall their best product they've ever created. I truly believe that. And I believe 21st Century Breakdown is honestly very close, maybe even, in my opinion, better than Dookie as well. And it's just because from start to finish, American Idiot, I believe, is a masterpiece. There's really no slowing down, and by that I mean no drop in production. There is slowing down. There's some there's some slower songs. There's some slower parts on songs here, but in my opinion, the only song that stands out because it's a little weak is Extraordinary Girl. That's it. That's it. And that song isn't even bad. It's not a bad song. It's a good song. It's just not literally to the elite level that all of these songs are. In my opinion, Dookie, when you listen to Dookie, there are some fantastic songs, okay? Fantastic. And there's some songs that aren't even singles that are also fantastic, like Burnout, I would say. And you have Basket Case, When I Come Around. I mean, there's the big, big hits that are, timeless, that'll always be around, that are just absolutely fantastic, right? But I feel like there's a lot of drop-off between those and then, the other songs. The last, 4 songs of the album really sound, and we talked about that in that review, sound the exact same. They're short. They're 2 minutes long. They just sound like they're just repeats or the same kind of, progressions in general, same kind of thing as each other. And I feel like, to me, that's what holds Dookie back, is there is, in my opinion, a drop between the best and worst songs. American Idiot does not suffer from that at all. While there are some enormously long songs here, songs like Jesus of Suburbia and Homecoming, there is not a single, I believe, drop in quality between any of them. And we'll go through them, But if you look at it, American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Are We the Waiting, Saint Jimmy, Give Me Novocaine, She's a Rebel, I don't believe there's a drop in any of those. Now, am I saying that they're all exactly as good as the other ones? No. American Idiot is kind of timeless and perfect in its own way. Boulevard of Broken Dreams obviously has found a huge, following of being one of their most famous, if not maybe their most famous songs, even though, you have songs like Basket Case, Time of Your Life, stuff like that. But you look at all those songs and, I mean, they're all different. They all sound different. They all have different themes. They're telling a story. They go through so much, but there's really not a drop at all. Then after Extraordinary Girl, you got Letter Bomb, Wake Me Up When September Ends, Homecoming, and What's Her Name. And, I mean, those songs are perfect. I believe those are honestly some of the best songs they've ever made, and I think those songs are better than even some of the singles that they've had. Letter Bomb is one of my favorite underrated songs from them. Wake Me Up When September Ends, obviously such a personal song to Billie Joe Armstrong. Homecoming, I mean, that song, I think Homecoming is better than Jesus of Suburbia, and I know Jesus of Suburbia gets the most look at, I think, just because of the name, because of the connection with the album, maybe just because they pushed it more. And What's Her Name, I think, is such a fun. So, I mean, I keep saying phenomenal, right? I keep saying all these things because that's what it is. This album is perfect. It's got the solos. It's got some neat guitar riffs. It's got the bass. It's got Mike Dirnt doing his thing. It's got Trey Cool being just fantastic. It's got them all working in unison better, in my opinion, than ever before. Warning took a step with his vocals in terms of how he actually sings. I think Billie Joe Armstrong is an amazing singer after Warning, and including Warning, maybe even parts of Nimrod. Nimrod is actually pretty well sung, so I'll say that. From Nimrod on, he's an amazing singer, and I believe he gets better every single time. But I feel like the jump between Warning and American Idiot, especially even vocals, is the biggest jump. I think American Idiot, the 21st Century Breakdown, he continues to get better. I think he gets better in Uno, Dos, and Tres as well. I think all those he sounds exactly the same. It's because they record them at the same time. And then even between that and Revolution Radio, he jumps up again. So I think he honestly, with his age, he gets better at singing every single time. This is the most noticeable, though, because of where we came from. And I think the whole album is the most noticeable because of where we came from Warning to American Idiot. You can just tell how much better everything is here. And I didn't even talk about, and I'm not going to talk about it too much, but the themes. They made a political album, and in my opinion, without it sounding too political. I mean, this is an anti-Bush album, okay? This is an anti-establishment at the time, anti-Republican even, you could say, anti-going to war after 9/11 and all that kind of stuff. So this was a big thing. This was a big statement album. This is an album that a lot of people will point to as a really strong political album. Although, in my opinion, you listen to it, and it tells a story for sure. I like the story of 21st Century Breakdown more with Christian and Gloria. I actually like that better. And maybe not even better, but I think it's just more well told. This one, he goes through a lot of different things, with St. Jimmy, with the Jesus of Suburbia, with him actually dying in Homecoming. There's a lot of things that happen. I don't think it's told as well as it could be. I know obviously they made like a Broadway play. It's told well, right? Because they made a play. You could literally make this into a movie and it would work seemingly well. So there's a lot here. I just think, overall, is it told perfectly? No. Is it? In my opinion, it's a political album without forcing the politics down your throat. And one of my biggest worries with Green Day right now is the anti-Trump thing that they have going for them. And whether or not you agree and whether or not you actually think that's going for them, that's a big discussion. That's some other discussion. But what I hope is that because of American Idiot, I look back to that every time I say, please don't make your next album be completely anti-Trump and bashing it and all that stuff. And Revolution Radio was kind of getting ready for that. What I do like, though, is you can listen to them and it's okay. You're not going to hate them as a band if you like Trump, because I don't feel like they go I don't feel like they go fully into attacking. Okay, so like with American Idiot, it's anti-Bush, it's anti-America at the time. I feel like you can listen to it and not be like put off if you enjoyed those years or if you liked Bush, something like that. You know what I mean? So that's just something, and that's something I definitely do want to talk about in the future, depending on what sound this next album goes. But we're gonna to very quickly now, I know we talked a lot about the album, we're going to very quickly go into the album and talk about every single song. Again, we're going to do it kind of very, very fast because I feel like all these songs are exactly the same. They're all amazing. First up, we have American Idiot. Song's perfect. It's a fantastic opening. It tells you exactly what kind of album this is going to be. It's going to, and for the most part, it's going to be fast. It's going to be energetic. It's going to just have a lot of themes in general. It's going to have some really nice guitar things going on. It's going to have the solos when it needs to. Perfect song. Absolutely, in my opinion, perfect song. Jesus Suburbia, really, really amazing. I love listening to this. I'll sometimes just have the urge to listen to this specific song. I don't know why. I just will. Again, is it as good as Homecoming in my mind? I think Homecoming is better. I like Homecoming, how they cycle between the different singers. And now Mike Dirnt does have the part in Jesus' Suburbia, but I really do like Homecoming. I think that's a better song overall. Jesus Suburbia, again, gets the more looks, but I absolutely love this song. It's really long without feeling long, and I feel like they're a band that does that very well. I like it when they have long songs. I think they do it very well. I think they break them up. Even in this case is the first time we've kind of seen this where they break up the long songs into acts. Jesus of Suburbia, City of the Damned, I Don't Care, Dearly Beloved, Tales of Another Broken Home. So you have the different acts to it. And I think it really is set up in a way where you can have acts to a song. So, really well done overall. Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams, iconic Green Day songs. I love the guitar riff in Holiday. Boulevard of Broken Dreams, kind of having that slower feel overall, but more kind of personal. I think that's the song that you get more people that just know. That's the song that's very, very welcomed and sung along with, live. So it's a song that has really become, I believe, I think it's the biggest song from this album. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that that's their biggest song there. But 100%, I feel like that song just has grown massively. And whether, is it the best song on the album? I personally don't think so. I think it's one of the better songs on the album, but I do not think it's the best. And Holiday is right up there with it. I think Holiday's quality and the different, just the different aspects they put into that, and kind of have, the representative of California now has the floor. I mean, that kind of thing it gets you every single time, and how he changes that based off of the city they're playing in when they're playing live. So fantastic song. Both those songs are fantastic. And then, up until this point, they've been, for the most part, faster. Boulevard of Broken Dreams changes it up a little bit. But then after that, we start to experiment. I feel like they start to experiment with different songs. Are We the Waiting and St. Jimmy literally going back to back. Another one of those brain stew jaded things. They literally go back to back, and I think it just works perfectly. Because Are We the Waiting, slower song, more of like an anthem-ish song. And I love that. I love that about it. When I first started listening to this album and Green Day in general, this was a song I honestly would skip. I would just say, pass. It doesn't really have something. But now that I'm listening to the whole album, now that I kind of respect this album, their music just in general, way, way more, and love it, I'd say way, way more. This song is really, really good, and I understand why it's here. I think it does work very, very well to kind of slow things down and make it that kind of anthem-ish song where you can sing it with the crowd. It just has a power to it that honestly I feel like actually has more power than a lot of the other songs on this album, even though it's kind of lower. But again, all of these songs, you could play any of these songs live and it would be a slam dunk like success. And there's no difference here where they do Are We the Waiting and then they jump right into St. Jimmy, which they also do live, but it happens in this album, and just phenomenal. I love, the slow kind of drawing it out nature of Are We the Waiting, and then extremely speeding things up with St. Jimmy is perfect. Absolutely perfect. St. Jimmy is a fast song. It's an energetic song. It's right in your face. There's not much more to say about it. It's a fantastic song. Give Me Novocaine, I do think, is an underrated song. Obviously not a single, but a song that a lot of people, I believe, truly, truly love. A song that, if you go through the songs here, they're kind of all singles, and they're kind of a lot of them have been pushed by Green Day that year and years to follow. And you go through, and already American Idiot was pushed, Jesus Suburbia was pushed, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams were both pushed, and Are We the Waiting and St. Jimmy were pushed together. Give Me Novocaine wasn't pushed as much, but I think it's one of the best songs on this album. I think it's fantastic. I love that it goes slow and then fast. I love his singing in this. I think is one of the better vocals in the entire album. Just really good. And then again, you go into She's a Rebel, and it gets faster again. So Give Me Novocaine, again, slows the tempo down a little bit. It does have some faster moments. And then you have She's a Rebel, which, again, speeds things up, jumps back into it, and just does a phenomenal song. This is a little bit of a weaker, I mean, if you look at them all, I feel like She's a Rebel is that song that kind of does drop production a little bit. It doesn't have the elite, I could say, like, label as the other songs do, but it's still a fantastic song. And then you get to Extraordinary Girl. It's got some great parts to it. It's an overall great song. I think it's one of the better songs if you put it on another album. I would even say that. But with the quality of songs being so high, again, I think She's a Rebel and Extraordinary Girl drops, especially Extraordinary Girl looks like, and I feel like it's always kind of been said, it feels like the weakest song on the album. If there's anything holding the album back, and I don't listen to that many other bands, American Idiot to me is one of, if not the greatest albums I've ever listened to of my favorite bands. If I were to put all their albums together, I'd put American Idiot in the top 2 to top 3 at the absolute lowest. Extraordinary Girl, I feel like, is the only thing holding it back from being like, if this wasn't there, this album would be literally even if you take the song out, the album, I think, would be absolutely perfect. And that's just my opinion, though. Letter Bomb, after that, like I said in the beginning of this video, Letter Bomb is a very special song to me. I love it. I love just basically everything about it. The guitar is fantastic. The drums, literally everything about the song. His singing, its fast-paced nature. It's phenomenal. It really is one of the best songs on this album. It doesn't get looked at as hard. They play it live significantly less than they play a lot of the other songs, but I definitely think it's one of the better songs on the album. And maybe it gets overlooked because it comes right before a song that obviously has exploded the world and is one of Green Day's biggest by a mile, Wake Me Up When September Ends. This song is phenomenal. This song is emotional. This song has so many layers to it. The guitar in this is absolutely amazing. Just everything. The meaning, the message, the lyrics themselves, Billie Joe Armstrong singing. This song is damn near perfect. This song is one of the better songs on this album. It's one of the better songs they've ever written and made in general. Obviously a very personal and emotional song to him. We're getting towards the end of this album here, and they're still delivering some of the best songs they've ever made. So, again, this song, there's not a lot of things you can say about it, considering it's one of their most popular. It's one of the most important songs to them. We'll just leave it at that. Homecoming is after that, and again, like I said, I believe Homecoming is one of the better songs on this album. I think Homecoming is better than Jesus of Suburbia. I just like it more. I think it's got better parts to it. I think there's parts in Jesus of Suburbia, kind of the middle of it, that slows down, or not even slows down, because some of it's faster, but quality-wise drops. It doesn't hold up throughout the entire song, in my mind. Homecoming has so many different parts, and they really are all unique and all different, that I think it's just overall more fun, more catchy, more grabbing, more energetic, just an overall, I feel, better time listening than Jesus. And then that's just my opinion. I think there will be a lot of people that like Jesus Suburbia better, but in my opinion, I like Homecoming more. I think it's a phenomenal, 12th song. It's longer. It's the longest song on the album. It's longer than Jesus Suburbia by 10 seconds, and, it's just, as we're getting to the end here, it's just absolutely amazing. And then we have What's Her Name to round it out, the end of the story. And now Homecoming, has the death of St. Jimmy, and then this song, it's talking about, the person that he was with, that he can't even remember her name anymore in What's Her Name. And this song is super good. Ever since I first listened to the song, I think this song, again, underrated, not looked at as much considering the songs on this album, is a fantastic way to end it. Has that, I love the slow parts, and I love the actual, like, the rock heavy parts. It's a perfect combination of the two. I think this is one of the better songs on the album. This is one of my personal favorite songs by Green Day. I think it's absolutely amazing. And even from the very first time I listened to this album, I thought this song was special. I still think it now. I still think it's one of the best songs they've ever made. Just truly a phenomenal album, guys. And you should really take a drink every time I say the word phenomenal, because I don't even know where you'd be at right now. So that's my opinion of Green Day's American Idiot. Absolutely mind-numbingly amazing album. I believe in 1 to 2 weeks we're going to be reviewing 21st Century Breakdown. That album, almost just as good, I personally believe. I truly love that album. I think that's an underrated album by them. So that's going to be coming up next. If you guys like this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. We cover Green Day quite often. Again, we've been reviewing all their albums. We're going to be talking about them more and more as their new album eventually comes, as their singles, I should say, eventually come. Again, maybe they're already out and I've already made videos about it because I'm recording this kind of early. But let me know, guys, what you think about American Idiot, what you guys think about Green Day in general, and I will see you on the next video.